So I have a bunch of questions that I sent you guys ahead of time. I've taken a look at your website, and your product is absolutely gorgeous. And I could tell that you guys really have a good design sensibility. And looking at all your skin, your product must be fabulous. Everything is just so beautiful. The packaging is beautiful, and I love your, what you guys are standing behind. And it's just so funny because, like, skincare, why is skincare men or women? It should be genderless. We all have the same skin.
Yes.
Yep,
yes.
exactly.
We talk about that a lot. And like, yeah, your gender identity has nothing to do with your skin type at all. And yeah, doesn't make any sense. No,
not at all. So thank you for breaking the I don't know, the glass ceiling on that. I'm not sure. So let's get to some Q's and A's. Well, first I just want to say thank you to Nina and David and Megan for being with us today. And I guess just tell us about Alder New York and what you love about it and what makes it unique. And is it Alder or Alder?
It's Alder, but really it's whichever way you pronounce it. It's the tree. So however you say Alder, we say it Alder.
Right.
Yeah, so David and I founded Alder in 2016. We both come from a fashion design background and had actually worked together for years in the industry. And we were both very passionate about clean skincare. We had become really, like, I would say, like, woken up to how unsafe and like the lack of FDA regulation in the cosmetic industry. And at the time we just were like, there's no product that appeals to our design sensibility and to our lifestyle. I wouldn't call either of us skincare obsessives, but we're people who want to look good. We want to feel good. We want beautiful, luxurious products, but we don't want to be, we weren't like, we want a 10-step skincare routine. And so much of the marketing out there, definitely at the time, I mean, the idea of genderless felt like that just wasn't a thing. And our clothing line, we'd come from a genderless approach. And so we just didn't understand why that didn't exist in skincare. And then as we started researching formulations, our research, just verified what we'd already been feeling, which is that there's really no, like we said earlier, like gender identity has nothing to do with skin type. Your skin type comes from your mix of genetics, your mix of hormones, which change throughout your life and throughout the month, and your lifestyle. If you smoke, if you don't smoke, different things. What are you in a humid environment? And there's a world of beneficial ingredients, really beneficial ingredients that can be used for an entire, like a wide range of skin types or genders. And so we really started investigating that and realized like there was totally a reason for Alder New York to exist. And I think that the elevated point of view also just speaks to that. And, we both come from a design place and we want things to be beautiful. And to me, garish writing and colors that are like pink for women and red for men just are not very attractive on my cabinet, in my cabinet.
Yeah, I love that. And I also come from a design background. So the aesthetic of all of your products and just from everything from the packaging to the website to like just everything about it is just very clean and simple and sophisticated. And so what do each of you love about the product?
I feel like Nina kind of touched on it, but it's like it really fits our lives. Like we have lots of interests and lots of things that are not skincare, and we want to be doing those things. So we made products that allow us to have great skin, look good, and not be worried about if there's ingredients that are going to be harmful to me, the planet, and we don't have to think about it. And like we can also leave it out on the counter in our bathroom and it looks attractive still, and we can like do the things we love. And that's kind of what we like love about these products, is that they really work for us personally, but they also work for our customers. We have people who reach out to us and be like, I started using your products, and for the first time in my life, my skin is actually like looking good, and this problem I've had forever is now gone. And it's like, we didn't do anything revolutionary in terms of like finding a new ingredient or manufacturing a new thing that doesn't exist. Is what we did is just like made a really clean, really synergistic, smart collection of products that are going to deliver results for anybody at like any level of knowledge at any point in their life. And I love that our products do that for other people, and it just does it for us.
So you kind of covered my next question. What motivated you to start Alder New York? But if any of you want to elaborate on that, feel free to. If not, we can move on to the next question.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is that when we first became really passionate, when we were still doing clothing design, the environmental working group was really my guiding light in terms of understanding the safety of products, and they still are. And I'm very proud that Alder New York products, they're all environmental working group verified or in the process of becoming. I think the term they use is actually certified, and it's incredibly rigorous, which is why things, I mean, the amount of testing, like we're talking years, so some of that's still happening for some of the products. But I think like on a personal level, I feel a deep sense of pride in the fact that we really can stand behind these products. And I feel very comfortable being like, these are safe for you and the planet.
Yeah, and they're 100% vegan.
Yes, yeah, they're also all Vegan Action certified, which is to us just a given. But you know, yes, to us, there's no reason animal products should be in it.
Absolutely. So, how has being queer influenced your business?
Well, I definitely think that as a queer person, you experience the world sort of from the outside and trying to figure out how to see it and see where you fit in and see where you don't. And I think what we brought to this brand was sort of that perspective that like there's a lot of beauty brands that are not safe spaces for people who do not conform to certain gender norms or identity norms. And we want to create a brand that kind of was that. So I feel like the experience of being othered and not fitting into the normal existence that straight heterosexual society kind of has put us into has made us view products that have been gendered and have been marketed in a certain way and go, why is that? And that is partly because of the queer experience. And I think that like a big motivation for creating Alder was making people who kind of feel othered, not feel othered in this one part of their life, this like thing that should make you feel good and be really easy. But like that so wasn't the norm when we started. And it's still very much a challenge in the beauty industry. There's lots of very traditional standards and language and sort of marketing that's out there. And we don't want to do that. And that's sort of really where a big part of the motivation of why we did Alder was.
It's interesting because one of the things that you point out on your website, I forgot where I read it, but just how even with like products marketed to men, it's marketed to men to attract the opposite sex. Right. And we all know there are men that are not necessarily attracted to the opposite sex.
Absolutely. Exactly.
So what would you say that one of the biggest struggles have you overcome being a small business owner, or more specifically being a queer small business owner?
I feel like me and I have talked about this a lot, and it's being a small business owner is sort of a little bit being outside of the norm. You're trying to forge your own path, and it can be hard to stick to your convictions and follow what you think is right. And there's a lot of influence and ideas and norms that are out there. And usually the small businesses that succeed are ones that really believe in themselves and don't listen to all the influences and things that are out there. And I think that, you know, we've been doing this long enough that like we'll have instincts about something that we're like, that doesn't make sense, or this is the way we think we should do it, but no one else is doing it. And then we'll be validated a few years later when none of that actually made sense. It all kind of fell apart. It wasn't the success that everybody thought it was going to be. And I think that is sort of the hardest thing as a small business owner, is to know when your instinct is right and not be influenced by outside forces, really.
Absolutely. I mean, we're just starting out in Queerful. It's like when we were speaking to other people about it, everybody was excited, but it was interesting. There were certain people like, well, you can't do that. That can't be done. Or like, well, no, you need to do it this way. It's like, no, why do we do it that way? It's like, well, that's how it's been done. It's like, well, that's why we're doing this, because it hasn't been done.
Right. Yes. Totally. Like when we started and we were like, we're making a line that isn't gender specific. It's not gendered, it's genderless. People would be like, but there's no genderless people. And I was like, what are you saying? Like, what, like, that's not what we're trying to do. This is for everybody. And that was hard. And if we listened to everybody, we'd be like, oh, there's no market for skincare that's marketed to everybody. But that's not true. That wasn't true.
It's true. I just, speaking of skincare, I probably can use some because I just got back from Key West and I wasn't using any SPF. But one of the, very bad. One of the, there was this, they have this saying, and there's all these little stickers all over town. They're on people's doors and on bumper stickers and all the shops. It says, one human family. And I just love the sentiment behind that. And it's just like, everybody's welcome here. We're all just humans. We're all the same.
Yeah.
We might look a little different on the outside, but you know, by the end of the day, we're all just one human family.
Totally. With
skin that needs attention. Well, I have a question, another question. How has being queer been an advantage for your business?
I feel like it's the same idea that like being queer is being different, and you're forced to think differently and see things differently, and they struggle on like a daily, everyday basis. It's not the same struggle, but like there's a lot of marginalized people that have to figure out how to navigate the world through challenge after challenge, and it makes you stronger if you can survive and get through it. And it makes other things that can feel hard to get through. Like I've done the hardest thing of proving I should exist and my identity is valid. How hard can this thing be? Let's try it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent. And I'm going to direct this to either Nina or Megan. Why do you feel Queerful is important right now?
Well, I wanted to hear why you think Queerful is important right now first. I saw that question. I was like, I want you think.
Okay. Okay, so I feel Queerful is important right now. Is like my whole thing is like I just love bringing people together, and my idea behind Queerful was I just never really understood. I grew up in New York, where you know we were all segregated. There was like the gay bar, there was the lesbian bar, there was the trans bar, there was the Latin bar, there was the older people's bars and or clubs or whatever. Not everything is a bar. And I just never understood why we couldn't all just come together. Because I personally, as I grew up, all my mentors were not just gay men, but they were gay women, they were trans, they were just everybody. And we just have so much to learn from one another. So I think Queerful right now is important, especially now because this world is becoming so divided. And I believe, this community is probably one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful communities in the world. I mean, we're the most creative, we're the most expressive, we're the most passionate, and we're the most diverse. We are the most diverse community on the planet. And by coming together, it just empowers all of us.
Yeah, I
so there, I just answered your question.
I love it. I'm like everything you said, but I was like so struck by in your mission statement talking about you had a percentage in there. I think there was like a quarter. It was like, but just that there's such a large group that if everyone were to come together, of how large that group is, and I think bringing it back to politics, I think that's what's scaring parts of people that are scared about that right now, is that it's a large group of people with a huge amount of power if everyone comes together. And so there's something really beautiful about that, and like it just feels more necessary than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a long road ahead of us.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that we're going to start building bridges with other people and connecting more and more people, and just supporting one another, inspiring one another, and motivating one another. And yeah, so I can go on and on forever. So let's get back to the question. Did anybody else have anything to add about what you feel why Queerful is so important right now?
I just want to agree with everything that was said. Yeah.
So what advice or inspiration would you give to other members of our community who might be starting a business?
I would say make sure there's a need for what you're doing. Make sure you're serving a community. You know, like really make sure that there's something there, because if there isn't, you're gonna have a hard time. Or if it's a community that's hard to get to, or a community you don't know, you're gonna be really challenged, and you need to want to be servicing somebody, some need. And if you can't really identify that, you're not going to be motivated to keep going. Like Mina and I often struggle with when it gets hard. It's like, why are we doing this? Does anybody like? It doesn't feel like anybody wants this, or you know, like this, there isn't much demand for this. And then we like take a moment and think about actually, there's lots of people who really want this and who really said that this has made a difference in their lives. And then we think about how if we didn't have this brand, where would we go for this? And I think if you can't feel like you're doing something of value and servicing an actual community, any community that needs something, you're gonna have a hard time doing it. So make sure there's a real purpose for what you're doing.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, it's like, you know, it's really hard starting a business. It's like probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yes.
And there's a lot of joy in it, and there's a lot of stress in it. And I think if you can be of service to a person or a community, and when those hard and heavy times come, and you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, or I just there's no more left in me. If you're thinking about the people that you're serving, that's what's going to motivate you to keep moving forward and to, like, you know, pull your big boy pants up and like get into action.
Yeah, because it only gets harder and you have less motivation. Like it doesn't get easier and you gain more motivation. So if you're not feeling like you're doing something for someone else, you're gonna stop. You're gonna stop, and it's gonna be too hard to do.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with us about yourselves, about Alder, about the community, about, I don't know, whatever you want?
Just we encourage everyone to go to aldernewyork.com, you know, try some really great skincare, you know, sign up for the newsletter. And in the newsletter, we often have more personal stuff from us as the founders, and we really try to make it a community. We want to hear from our community. Like, I think that's why that is the motivation we have. Like, speaking of lack of motivation, it's hearing from our customers. It's hearing from people that use our products, and it's made a difference in their life. And, you know, we'd love to hear from your readers.
Excellent. So do you each have your own, like, of the myriad of products that you have, do you like have like a favorite or two that you would recommend? Like if I'm starting, let's say I'm just starting off with skincare. It's like, you know, I've just used soap and water for years and clearly no sunscreen. What would you recommend?
If you're just starting out, I recommend our everyday cleanser, our lightweight moisturizer, and our balancing serum. Those are sort of like the perfect, that is all you need. If you want to add on to that and use a nourishing cream or an oil or a mask, great. But if you're new to skincare and you want a really pared back routine, that's going to do it for you all year round. Super beautiful botanicals and really important actives in there, things like 5% niacinamide and sea kelp. And you will notice a huge difference in your skin. And we just got an email from a buyer from a very big store with a lot of brands, and they emailed and said, I've been using this other brand we carry, and I finally switched to Alder, and I'm not kidding. This is the best cleanser I've ever used. And his coworker keeps telling him, why is your skin so glowy? And he's like, it's Alder New York. So that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I personally can't wait to get my hands on your products. And it was great meeting the three of you and talking with you and learning more about Alder. And I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Yeah, thank you so much. And good luck with everything with Queerful. It's a really exciting and going to be hard venture. I think you can do it. You have I can sense you have the passion.
My beard was actually a lot less salt and peppery when I started the process.